I'm just like, just watching it this short of a time after it came out, being like, that's the future. We have androids. We have people who are half machine. We've got spaceships that can travel to entirely different galaxies, like some other planets that no one's ever heard of. But then we still got this very basic 1990s aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah, there were definitely there were some visionaries involved in this.
Yeah, I would love to know, like, who decided this, that this was going to be like the feel of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was great.
It was great, right? So I'm still waiting for somebody to say something. What makes this movie great?
Oh, geez.
Or what even makes it good?
What makes it good? It's how they nail every single thing. They make it bad.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything in it. I mean, the special effects, terrible. I mean, even for the 90s, those CGI effects were terrible. Like, those aren't good. And, I mean,
I've seen worse.
Yeah.
But they're not great, yeah.
I mean, it looks like it was done on like a Apple something from the 90s computer or something.
Yeah. So now I wanna dig down into that crazy brain of Jason over here, and I want to figure out, okay, so you say they just did everything so bad and it's so good. Mm-hmm. So do you just find that how bad they did it to be so funny that it made puts the movie at a great level?
Some of it.
Or what about doing everything bad makes something good?
God, that's really tough to explain that. I mean, it's one of those things where either you really... If it's not bad enough, it's not worth watching. If it's good, okay, it's good. But if it's bad and really bad, then it comes back around to being really good. Somehow. I don't...
Yeah.
Gavin, help me. Throw me a fucking life.
No, I mean, I agree. I don't know if I can explain it any better, but it's... the movie, again, is not good, but I find it enjoyable. Like, there are movies we've watched on this podcast that... the time felt much longer to me. And this one, the 95 minutes, like, it felt like maybe 95 minutes. It didn't feel like it was like a punishment.
You're right. I will agree with you 100% on that. Like I did not want to kill myself nearly as badly during this movie as I did during like any full moon movie I've ever watched in my entire life.
And it is like, things are dumb. The acting is not great, really, by any of the characters. It's so over the top in many cases. The sergeant, way over the top.
Yeah.
The princess, over the top. The leprechaun is, but that's just how a leprechaun always is. So that's, I guess, normal. But yeah, like, everything is so ridiculous, but you can tell, like, it's not that they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
It's not that this was an incompetent group of people.
It was just...
Somehow they knew how to bake it into the movie that it was like, we're just going to go out there, not give a crap, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's... maybe, and this might be a generational thing too. This might be like growing up in the 90s and this being like the kind of thing you would rent, that maybe that's like, it plays well. And maybe people today picking up for the first time would be like, what the hell is this? That may be, I don't know. But to me, like, it does have that, like, oh yeah, this is classic 90s era straight to video sequels.
Yes.
Where it's like, a lot of them aren't good.
Yep.
But you still kind of appreciate that they're like, we got $1 million laying around. Let's make a sequel to another franchise. And
yeah.
So to break this down, I want to try to understand this. The way I'm understanding it is like Leprechaun is a horrible movie.
The first one?
But, let's just use this one. Leprechaun 4 is a horrible movie.
Okay.
But it's a well done horrible movie. Everything about it is bad, but it is fast paced. It keeps your attention and stuff like that. So when you're done with it, you're like, man, that was terrible, but I kind of enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
Is that how you would go with it.
I also enjoyed that they apparently, whoever made this, like wrote this, I don't know who the writer was, but whoever it was, we're just going to go in this direction, and then we're going to go in this direction. Towards the end, the sergeant showing up in drag. Where did this come from?
Yes, there was a lot of scenes in this movie. Like, what were they doing? Like, for instance, when the princess takes her top off.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're all sitting there like, do either of you remember exactly what she says? But she's just like, I'm going to make you all pay. And then takes her top off and shows everybody her tits.
Yeah.
And we're all like, what? And then they do eventually explain that when somebody of her culture shows you their breasts, it means you're going to die or something like that. But
I really do think that, like, it was like, we should have some boobs in this movie.
and
I bet you they went and just, like, did that scene just to show boobs, and that was it. Because there's so many other ways. I mean, she could have been running around, and I mean, they did later on pull a skirt off of somebody, and then and they weren't completely naked; they were wearing underwear or something. But like, they could have done that with her, and they had it,
Oh yeah,
and that scene is another example of it. Like, oh my God, could you try any harder to get her pants off? You know, like,
If you want to throw boobs in a movie, you can always do a shower scene.
Yeah.
That's easy to throw in. They have the sex scene, which doesn't get very far, but they could have got to the point where they were topless before the leprechaun burst out of his dick. So they could have done it there if they wanted to, but no, like they did it in the most bizarre way. It was like, I'm going to just stand here with my top off and you're supposed to feel threatened, but instead you look like, oh, thanks. And it's like, and that makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. There's nothing that you would do to write that in there unless it was, like you guys are saying, just purposely like, we need a moment here with boobs.
Yeah.
And how can we do it in a weird way?
Yeah. I mean, it like, we all just were just like confused by it.
Yeah.
And it took too long before they actually explained it. Like, I feel like we're just confused for too long about it. But I will say the other thing I don't want to forget to mention is the black guy from Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
What's his name? I don't even know. But
what's the actor's name?
The actor's name, yeah.
Miguel Nunez.
Okay. He is amazing in everything. I have to say, I wish like every movie from the like 90s, 80s goofy horror movie had that guy in it. Because it doesn't matter what you give him for lines. How he says everything is just gold.
Yeah. Also,
and
shout out.
Is this the guy that got tied up by the spider monster? Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to him for surviving the movie.
Yeah.
That
was totally unexpected, right?
Yeah. I mean, spoiler to people at home.
Right.
But it's a running joke in horror films that like the black guy's one of the first ones to go.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of it from that perspective. I always think of it in a horror movie. It's going to be the guy and the girl who are falling in love throughout the movie.
That's true, too.
Are going to be the only two to survive.
That's true, too. Yeah, to have anybody else survive is kind of strange. You're absolutely right there.
Yeah, they actually had 3 people survive.
But yeah, just like it's weird because, I'm watching it, and I hadn't seen this movie in a long time. I don't remember almost any of it. And I always have it in the back of my head because that's such the running joke in the horror movie world is that the black guy dies in like the first 10 minutes. And this guy, he had a few troubles along the way, but he freaking pulled through.
Yeah, he made it all the way to the end.
And you almost wonder, is that by design?
I don't know.
Again, just to be different, like you said, like showing the tits the way they did it. That's so memorable because who else has done that? Maybe leaving the black guy alive till the end of the movie was just their way of differentiating their movie from your typical.
There was some strange choices, but I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, out of all of the Leprechaun movies, I think this one stuck out to me. And I should say I found this at a Goodwill store for $1.
Yeah.
And I saw it and it honestly, it was meant to be because that's the only one I really have any interest in. And they didn't have any other good movies that I saw there. I was like, I saw that and I'm like, mine.
You're like Leprechaun 4.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I don't think you got your dollar's worth out of it, but
I'm still looking.
But if it makes you happy, Jason,
I'm still scouring the thrift stores for a dog named
I feel like
Christmas,
the time we spent together was worth the
The
dollar.
The friends.